So tell me about the childhood years with your sons, both raising them and you as a married couple while you were raising them. The
Mm.
difficulties, the ups and downs.
That was really dramatic because first it was Tyrone, and I was really a scared young woman, um, and everybody was telling me, "Don't do this, don't do that." But I can say about Charles, he treated me like I was a porcelain doll. I mean, he just like opened the door for me. He just like made sure everything was just perfect for me, and I just love that. But he doesn't do that much now, you know. But he was, and when Tyrone was born, he was a fantastic father. He helped me. I stayed home 5 years before I began to work for the, work on a public job, and he supported us. He was a good father. And then came along Troy, and we would have had 5 kids, but I had 3 miscarriages before I had Troy. And Troy was like a fast child, and he still is. But Tyrone is doing great, and Troy's doing great, and I just love being a mother. And right now, I'm a grandmother, and great grandmother, and I'm just excited about that. Um, the, when you haven't have children when you're very very young, you think you just want to do everything right. There's no way that you can raise them like you would want to raise them perfect, because there's no children's perfect at all. And even me, I wasn't a perfect mother myself. So because it was always someone in our house drinking water or getting cookies or something like that, and it was a trail of kids outside playing basketball. But all in all, every one of those kids, including mine, turned out to be okay. They are good kids, and most of them went away to college, and we'd have sleepovers here during that time, and I would call up the mother and dad and tell them they were here, and the parents was felt comfortable with them being here in our house, sleeping on the floor or whatever. We had fun. Charles, as I say, he was around, peeping around the corner and making sure that everything was like it's supposed to be. So I just enjoyed having kids. I wish we could have had more, because my dream was I wanted to have 8 kids, but God only blessed me with 2 boys, and so I'm thankful for them. Yeah.
Uh, at the time that we started having kids, uh, back then, as they grow, the kids in the neighborhood, there was our kids too, and it's something our kids, do something, the neighbors will tell us and we tell them, and it was a family thing, back then. But
Yeah.
now, if you can't do it, you can't scold a child, you can't uh, uh,
Discipline at all.
just your own kids actually, and nobody else, because the law gonna have to say so over. It's a different day, and I think that's the reason the kids now they kind of be a little wild, because they know that they have control over us.
Mm-hmm. Um, a lot of times, young married couples don't realize that pregnancy can have its complications. Tell me what some of in as much detail as you want to, about some of the difficulties of going through miscarriage and issues like that when you're a young parent.
That was really devastating for me, and even now, I wondered, I wonder just how those 3 kids, whether they were boy or girls or boys or whatever, and I never lost that memory of just knowing that I was, because it was somehow I always knew when I was pregnant before I even went to the doctor. and several times it just happened so fast. But with me losing those three babies, um, I would wake up with nightmares, and I would wake up just crying sometimes. And Charles was really compassionate with me until I got over it. But I prayed for another child, and God sent me Troy. So God has a great plan for all of us. But when you losing a child, whether you get to see that child or hold that child or not, it's always there. You always think about that was one of my children's, and we would have had five.